What a way to open the show.
Did you push the button, Katie? Are we going to start the show soon?
I pushed it. I pushed the button.
Oh, we are live. Hi guys. You're here. We're here too. Mostly. I ate an enormous amount of brownies, and so at any moment I might just kind of like fall over. So who knows what's going to happen with me. Well, welcome to Spilling Ink. We're so happy to see you, and because it's the beginning of the show, and I'm not going to forget like I always do, I want to give a big shout out to our amazing sponsor, Creative Edge Publicity. Oh my God, I'm really big on the screen. Hang on, let me adjust this real quick. Here we go.
Tilt it so it's coming up from the bottom. Up from the bottom.
The sparkles? I like this. I like it.
Sparkle.
So Creative Edge Publicity is the company that actually sponsors this show, makes this beautiful video platform possible for us, and lets us provide the podcast to everyone who's listening on their earbuds today. So thank you so much, Creative Edge Publicity. They are fantastic. Creative Edge, your brand, your future. They are advocates of collaboration and believers in partnerships in the ever-changing literary industry. That was a lot of big words, but they are all true. Creative Edge is wonderful. We really love working with them. So thank you, guys.
That's right. So if the boss is listening, see, we said it. We did it.
We did it. We said it. We did it. All right. And now for the rest of the show's introductions, I'm going to turn it over to this evening's MC, the Bryan Tann. Bryan Tann, introduce everyone. Yes.
What's going on, everybody? I am the Bryan Tann. I am one half of the Plotaholics podcast. My other three parts, Mr. Shane Wilson and Mr. Joe Compton of Go Indie Now. I am also a multi-genre author, currently signed with Random Evolved Media.
What does genre mean?
It's that thing where it's like subjects or something where things happen and go like, boom, man, it's amazing. And my novel Invincible Heart, which I co-authored with Kendra Souter, is a spinoff to her series, The Permutation Archives, is available now in print and ebook format. You can go to randomevolvedmedia.com. And if you purchase the print copy from the Random Evolved Media store, it will be signed by myself and Mrs. Kendra Souter. Or you can just go to Amazon and buy it from there and get the standard edition.
Who wants standard? Nobody wants standard.
Why would you want that?
No, get the special edition signed by Kendra and myself. It's awesome. If the Permutation Archives have been considered by critics to be a combination of X-Men meets the Hunger Games, well, the Permutation Archives division is hardcore X-Men meets the Hunger Games with a little bit of a Country for Old Men thrown in.
Ooh. Now, when you said hardcore, did you mean like XXX hardcore or like lots of action hardcore?
Lots and lots of action and insanity.
Nice.
I destroy Chicago.
Ooh, even better.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
You know, Bryan, I have to say, Bryan has probably my favorite voice of the people that come on the show, because we've had Bryan on a couple times, and I love it because he's got this big radio voice. And I actually listen to, I don't know if you might not have ever heard of it. It's a show called Snap Judgment. That's on it's a podcast, and it's on NPR, and
okay.
they have a host. His name is Glenn Washington. And listening to him reminds me of you so much. Just this big booming voice. I'm like, oh, this just reminds me of listening to Bryan chat. It's awesome.
It's so awesome. I love it.
All right. Well, enough of stroking Bryan's ego, though. Now it's not all about you, Bryan. Come on now. Come on.
Yeah, true. Unfortunately, it's not. But that's okay because I can share the spotlight. I don't have that big of an ego.
Well, we do have a newcomer to the show tonight, which I'm very, very excited about. And from what I hear, she doesn't do a lot of these, so we're really lucky to have her. It's Jami Gray.
Hi. Yeah, no, I don't normally. Actually, this is the first time I do this. I listen to podcasts, well, true crime podcasts, but I listen to podcasts.
Yes.
I'm a huge true crime. I tried that when it annoyed me, but I listen to Crime Junkie. I know. I'm sorry.
I don't wait. How do I get her off the stream? How do I?
I'm so sorry. It was the very first, because I'm one of those people, I have to listen to my episodes from the very first all the way
me
through.
Too. That first one was annoying. It was.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get through it. But yeah, Crime Junkies is my big fave. So
okay.
yeah. But no, so yeah, my very first peopling thing in like real life versus, standard interview questions and stuff like that. So we're not what you would call standard. I know. I've
not at
watched
all.
your previous podcast. It made me so happy because it meant I could get away with saying without getting in trouble. So yeah.
Well, and Jami has already admitted to being a heathen, so it's like she's part of the
Yeah.
club. We love her.
One of us.
Yeah.
One of us.
It's so pretty on the dark side. I love it.
It really
It is. And we also have cookies.
I know. They're
Yeah,
the best
good
cookies
cookies.
ever.
we have so
hell
much
yeah.
more power.
I know.
That's true.
And so much more fun.
Yeah.
Very true, because we can do a lot of things that the good guys can't.
I know. They get kind of boring.
Hey,
Well-
ritualistic orgies are a great thing. And they're not just for fun.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
true. That's true. Raise a few demons. You never know.
Yep, that's how I was
Friday
born.
night.
But we cannot forget our leader. She may not be fearless, but she is strong.
Oh, she's mighty as all hell.
And powerful. Captain Trainwreck.
All hail.
Yes.
All hell, the mighty salad.
Katie, I'm loving your shirt tonight. I love the double ringer going on and the
It's
spilling
so
ink. Yes. That's
Gotta love the
awesome.
merch.
Yep.
Well, how are you doing today, Katie?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
ready to enjoy a nice sit down with my friends here.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
your hair looks great. Did you straighten it today?
I did.
Awesome.
Took
It
5
looks
minutes to
nice.
actually brush my hair and straighten
Yeah.
it.
To become presentable, that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
you to do.
Priorities.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I've spent the entire week prepping my house. So this is actually put together. I've looked like a complete train wreck all week.
for the
Covered in
Roman,
paint and it's been bad.
you've been prepping for the Roman orgies that Bryan was talking about, or what?
She had to cover up the summoning circle in the living room.
You know.
Yeah, well,
Minor things for company.
there you go.
Oh man.
So what are we
Well,
talking about tonight, guys?
well, we're talking about how I upgraded your bedroom here in the basement. We put a real bed in there. Yes.
Oh,
and-
snap.
Yes.
Wow.
We gave it a wall too because Julia's coming to live with us for a week.
She told me. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, so it's gonna be pretty cool. So she actually has a bedroom. So next time you come to visit, you'll have a real bedroom.
And when am I coming to visit next?
Soon, you need to come up here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta come from the wedding too.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna invite
Dude.
myself over to places now.
Hell yeah.
That's
hell
fun.
yeah.
Hey.
Now that-
Nothing wrong with that.
Surfer.
now that you're gonna be rich, you can do all these things.
Far from it. No, I will finally be out of debt. Finally.
Well, that's basically rich. If I would,
Yeah,
rich-
that
Yeah,
is
you're
good.
gonna have to let me know what that feels like because
You have to let all of us know how that feels.
yeah, because I don't remember what it's like to be debt free.
For the all
Yeah.
5 minutes, I'll be debt free.
Yes. When
Hey.
when we sold our last house, we paid off everything, and for like a day, it was glorious. And they were like,
yeah.
"Oh, we gotta buy stuff now."
We got to go on a cruise. We got to take a world tour. It'll
And
be awesome.
now we're in debt again.
Yep.
Well, the thing is, I've got 3 kids, so they always need something.
Oh, well, then you've got a lifetime of debt coming.
Well, at least one is old enough to get a job. The other one, and then the little one, she can just glare what she wants out of
She's
people.
old enough to get a car, so now we've got more expenses if she needs to.
Yeah, because now your insurance went from manageable to damn.
Yeah, luckily she doesn't affect my insurance until she gets the actual license. Permit doesn't affect the insurance yet. So far so good.
Hey, Jonesy has a very good idea.
I like her idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe
I've looked at Etsy because they are homemade.
Yeah,
That's
there you
true.
go.
That's
There
true.
you
it'd be good.
They were
You do it
actually
on
made.
Fiverr?
They were actually
Right,
made
yeah.
at home. Nice.
Yeah.
At least,
We think.
I think one might have been made out in the desert somewhere.
Now, how did we already go completely off the rails and we're only 9 minutes in?
Because I'm here.
Yep, you got it.
I'm big enough to be a roadblock for pretty much everything. So, I mean,
we're supposed to be a serious show talking about
so why have me on?
I can't even say it with a straight face.
No.
But
like I said, you can at least rent one of your kids to be like an enforcer for like various enterprises, because that glare scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, we were talking about it with another friend of mine, how every kid reacts differently to like authority figures. And for my youngest, because she's such a very high-strung, very type A personality, she has to have an equally strong person in a leadership role. So like teachers always have to be very stern, otherwise she'll just completely steamroll them. Nice. And her ballet teacher is one of those teachers that every other parent I've met has hated this teacher, because it's like, this isn't Juilliard, we're at the rec center, why is she so mean? I'm like, she's a ballet teacher, she's getting stuff done. And my daughter loves this teacher because she doesn't take crap.
Mm-hmm. I was like that with my my intermediate level, because I went to Catholic school, so we had primary, intermediate, and upper. And my English teacher for there, Miss Thomas, she was like that because all the kids hated her, and I loved her to death because she didn't put up with crap. She let me read as much as I wanted. She let me take books home as much as I wanted, but I had to get the work done, and she didn't take crap from nobody. Even the worst kids in the school were afraid of her.
I think that has to be a standard for English teachers, because I had one in high school, freshman year. Everybody hated her. I loved her. My research paper freshman year, I had like hundreds of note cards. Everything was detailed and cited, and I loved it. Everybody else hated her.
Now, I have a question for you guys, because I went to Catholic school too, and I was a big reader.
Damn, I'm the only one that didn't.
Wait, did you just go to regular public school?
Oh, well, I went to, but I lived on the border. So I lived on the border of Arizona, Mexico in Nogales. Oh, so 90% of the population there's Catholic. I was not. I was raised Irish Catholic, and then I joined the LDS church when I was 14, and then I walked away and got a brain when I was.
Oh, yeah, you and Kendra should talk.
Well, yeah, and I feel like you're going to be a good part of this this question I'm going to ask then, because it doesn't matter about the school per se.
Okay.
So when I was young, I started reading. I think one of my first reads was probably Stephen King, because my stepdad loved to read King and Kuntz and Michael Crichton and all this stuff. So I would read stuff off his bookshelf. And I would always bring the books to school to read during, break times or lunchtime, whatever it was. And I never got any crap about what books I was reading, even though I was, a fifth grader reading books that, had lots of sex and violence and horrible things in it. Did any of you ever experience any judgment or any, kind of suppression with what you were allowed to read growing up?
Not from my mother, but in Catholic school, yes.
Okay.
Mine actually, I started out with like Lloyd Alexander and Catherine Kurtz and all of the sci-fi fantasy. And then I moved into romance in high school because I found my mother's stash in her closet. And so I would take them out and take them to school. So my mom had no idea I was reading like Jude Devereaux, Johanna Lindsay as a freshman. Not saying that I think that's a good way to start your romance life as a high school student. I'm just simply saying
probably better than breaking into your dad's stash, because those are good books.
No, did that too.
Yeah,
go there.
You don't want to be seen walking into school with a copy of Biggins.
No, but I would say I didn't feel comfortable telling my mom I was reading her romance. She had some concerns with some of the books I would read, because like you, I read like The Stand, and then there were do you remember the Choose Your Own Adventure occult books?
I love those books.
Love those books. My mother was really worried about me when she found out that I was reading those. So yeah, I tend to go towards the darker stuff. I like that a little bit more. So yeah, I got some raised eyebrows.
Dark. Okay. I did as well. I took one of my first, I call them grown-up books, was Robert McCammon's Swan Song. And I still to this day will either read or listen to that audiobook at least once a year. And it's like 956 pages of post-apocalyptic awesomeness. And the original cover of it that I had, it actually had like it was a picture of like a barren wasteland with a demon head in the middle. So, of course, going to Catholic school, I actually had to hide that book cover from my principals.
Did you do like the paper bag cover over the top of it?
I would like keep it in my backpack, and then if like when they weren't watching, I'd bring it out and just keep my hand over it. Or I was never able to do like the paper bag thing because I'm not that arts and craftsy. But at one point I actually had to and it hurt me to do it. I had to tear the front cover off. So no one would notice.
No, Bryan.
No,
I was young. I didn't understand at the time. Because now keep in mind, in my grade school, I was reading a ton of R.L. Stine in grade school. Okay. And one of his books that he had was a vampire novel. And it had a girl in a bikini with the puncture wounds on her neck. My principal took the book.
Ooh. And
I actually had to go to my mom because here's the thing was I was a relatively well-behaved kid, but you didn't mess with my books.
Yeah.
Like, so when she took my book, I freaked out. And I went to my mom, and my mom went to the principal and said, "Hey, you better give him back his book." My principal said I couldn't have that book in school because she was in a bikini. And, the way, when they made those book covers, even to this day, the female characters were always made at times overly endowed to lure in the young male lives.
They have these forms that I'm like, you can't even swing a sword if you had that much of a bust and you'd cut something off.
Yeah.
So
that's why when people were arguing about Gal Gadot being Wonder Woman, her boobs aren't big enough, dude. She would lose a tit in battle.
She is probably the I don't know. She's my celebrity crush. Probably the best.
She's a beautiful woman.
She is. Oh, like she would lose a tit just firing an arrow.
Yeah.
Okay, she pierced her own nipples.
Bow and arrow. That's kind of
yeah.
Well, because if she was a real Amazon, she wouldn't have one because they cut it off when they would do bows and arrows.
That's true.
Because it interfered. So
Mm-hmm.
in
high school, my 9th grade physical science teacher, and
your teacher would have died, Jonesy.
I know that's
your teacher
horrific.
would have died.
Oh my
God! You didn't touch my books. Like I was the kid that was bullied.
Can you believe that?
And I was like, I was meek and mild, but when people touched my books, I killed.
For the podcast listeners, Jason, will you do the voice of Jonesy and read this comment?
Yes. My fucking teacher snatched my book out of my hands, leaving me holding 2 pages and her holding half my book in each hand. I nearly killed her.
Oh, Lord Jesus, no! Oh, I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Lord, save me.
Lord, Black Jesus. Oh, no, you didn't.
Well, I'll tell you what, that says a lot about what kind of kids a lot of us were, because our books were so important to us. We're the kind of kids that stayed in your bedroom and read books.
Until like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
When I was on punishment, the one thing that my mother never took away from me was books. Yeah. I couldn't watch TV, couldn't play with toys, no video games. Hey, book, yep. Radio, yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm. Music was kind of a big thing if my mom took that away, but she would never try and take away my books because I would lose it if she did. That was like the one thing you can't take away from me.
Yeah, they would take away my CD player all the time.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was reading a book in class and some kid just came up and just hit the book, knocked it out of my hand.
Oh, I hate it.
And everyone in the class was like, "Oh
shit."
Yeah.
I looked down, I looked at the kid and he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "So how do you want me to kill you?" Like, huh? I said, "No, how do you want you ain't gonna do no, how do you want me to kill you? I can pull out your throat or I can gouge out your eyes. Which would you prefer?" And he was like, because I guess he was used to people saying they were gonna shoot and blah blah blah. He ain't hear nobody say, "I'll tear your throat out with my bare hands."
We have more creativity in how we come up with vengeance. That's kind of what we do.
That's right.
We know how to make it really personal.
Well,
books do make great weapons. We learned that from John Wick 3.
That's true.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, trust me. That's my husband's always saying, "I'll never piss you off because you'll get away with my murder." No, not a problem. You've got it all covered.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about my wife. She would definitely get away with it. That's what she does during the day. Is she watches like the murder mystery shows. I'm like,
Oh, I used to do that too. But
this
now,
isn't
yeah.
good.
Now I
Well,
just
see,
I listen to podcasts.
Well, Sharon is part. She's like Polish and Greek. So, but she's
fiery.
real sweet, meek, and mild until you piss her off. So if I just happen to disappear, no one would suspect her, like at all. But meanwhile, she probably has a darker streak that's blacker than my soul.
Yeah.
And my soul is pretty dark.
Stay on that woman's good side.
Oh,
Yeah.
I intend to. I've told you the story about when I saw her mad for the first time, didn't I?
No.
Mm-mm.
So, and I really, really, really hope that she's not watching. But it involves my ex-wife.
I love that shirt, by the
So,
way.
oh yeah, I bought this as soon as I saw Jay and Silent Bob reboot, and I saw this. I bought it. I went right to Hot Topic. I went right to the Hot Topic and bought it. I didn't care at the time that it wasn't my size because it's like I'll fit it.
It's an awesome shirt.
Yep. So
Snoochie boochies.
Snoochie
That's right.
boochies and equality. So basically, when I was getting my son for the summer for the first time, my ex-wife made me have to sign a document that said that if I didn't bring him back at the designated time, that the police, a Amber Alert would be put in place and I'd go to jail, blah, blah, blah. Sharon's eyes went red and her face went from white to red to what the fuck? And it looked like her hair caught a flame like she was going Super Saiyan. And she was just like, what? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't do it. Please don't kill me. I went from being angry to scared. Like, and the only other human being that ever made that happen was my mama.
That's a good sign for Sharon, I think.
Yep.
That definitely is.
Mhm.
She's very patient. She works with kids all day, so she's very patient. Puts up with my
Oh,
up with my old man tendencies.
No, old man, kids, that's kind of
About the
same
same.
thing.
Yeah.
About the same.
You've got some competition. Jonesy is hot for Sharon.
Yeah, no, I know. You know what? I feel kind of bad for admitting this. That's why Jonesy didn't get invited to the wedding. I feel threatened. I don't need someone taking my soon-to-be bride from me.
She give her back.
Oh,
No,
have
she
you-
even if she gave
tomorrow
her
for
back,
just
she
a
wouldn't be
little
the
bit.
same again.
did you guys ever see that movie where it was like a cameo by, maybe it was a TV show, a cameo by James Vanderbeek, and they went to somebody's wedding reception, and he ended up sleeping with the bride because that was her hall pass. It was like at her wedding reception.
Wow.
Oh, I am gonna have to find that.
I don't have any
Damn.
idea what it was, but it was hilarious.
Oh,
Oh
I'll
my
find
God.
it. I'll find it. No, I think the funny part though is that then Sharon will be like, "Well, bye, dog," and I'm like, "All right." But then we'd still be married because I told her I ain't signing no paperwork that says divorce. We just gonna have to be living in misery.
Oh,
Or if you decide to leave me, you can just live in sin by nailing someone else, but you still married to me.
or kill you.
Or just kill me. Hey, I'll change my name to Miguel Sanchez. Go on the run.
Well, now that we've covered the very important first bases, because Jamie, because we haven't talked to you before, and I would ask you this even if we have talked to you. I don't know why I said that, but I would really like to find out more about what you write. Can you tell us all about your writing?
I write urban fantasy and paranormal romance, and the paranormal romance was done on a dare.
Wait.
So-
Tell me about the dare.
So I had a writing group. I started writing I've been writing my whole life, but I didn't get published until 2010. And I started out with a small publishing group. I had an urban fantasy series, and I did everything wrong. So the first 2 books follow one character. The second book follows the third. You know how it goes. So the second series I wrote, my writing group laughingly said, "Hey, we think you should write romance." And I was like, "Romance?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, fine. Okay, I'll do it." So I basically put NCIS with Supernatural and came up with the Cypher teams and just released the 5th book in that series in February.
on a dare. The fifth
On a
book
dare.
is coming out now.
Yep, it's out.
Went from a dare to a 5-part series.
I did.
That's awesome.
And here's the thing: when you start out writing, you do everything wrong. So,
Yep.
and you're trying to figure out who you are as a writer and what your style is and all of this. So, when I did the Kin Chronicles, which is the UF series, the very first series that I did, I had initially written it in first person, then I did it close third, and then I had magic hidden, and then I had magic out in public. And I'm like, I swear to God, I rewrote that book way too many times and finally just put it out there. So it's close third, but I kept switching. There's 5 books in it. The first 2 follow the main character, Rain and Gavin, and then the second follows a secondary character, or the third follows a secondary character, and so on, which is kind of annoying. So the site for teens, I just said, oh, if I'm going to write romance, I'm going to do it in first person, because doesn't everybody do romance in first person? No, they don't.
No, you don't.
But
Well,
once you start,
Penthouse
you
does.
can't change. So I'm 5 books into the series, and it's all first person. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. And so the new series that I'm starting that I want to release this year is UF, and I'm actually going to follow the rules this time. So it's written in first, and it will follow one person and have one point of view, and it'll be like 3 books. So yeah, it's fun. But I do have, I did do a post-apocalyptic romantic suspense, because I thought, the world's going to hell, so we might as well do a series in that.
Yeah.
And
Makes sense.
totally
I'm all
makes
for that.
sense. So had my son help me. He came up with the name. It's a group of 4, 2 brothers and a brother and sister that join in, and they're called Fate's Vultures. And that name actually came from my son, because I was like, I need something kind of cool. He's like, oh, dude, do vultures. I'm like, okay. So I put Fate in front of it. What the hell? I did sell that one to Escape, which is a digital branch of Harlequin, Australia. And so they have that. And it's a little harder for me to handle on that one, because it is written in Australian English versus English. So,
What's the difference
color.
between the two?
Well, like color, instead of COLOR, COLOUR.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so it throws me.
Do you say good day, mate, in every other line?
Oh, no. I specifically said you have to keep the dialogue American. Please keep it, because it takes place in what's left of America. Trust me, it's just going to have to work this way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't say, oh, it was going on there, mate. In,
Yeah.
Boston.
And you're not going to find like a koala in the middle of the Arizona desert. So, you kind of have to stick with what you got. But yeah, so, and I tend to do, my writing partners say that I'm the queen of subplots. So you do have to think when you read my book. Sorry.
Aww.
I know. It's not those fast reads that we all love, but
So it's not young adult then. These are adult books.
I would not say that young
It's
adult
for
does not have
kids.
subplots. Not that I read young adults, so I don't know, but I don't want to offend anybody.
I might
Yeah.
be offended, but oh, wait, no, I'm not.
I like that when Jason Beta reads my stuff. He's like, "Is this young adult?" I'm like, "What? Did I not put enough stuff in there for you?"
Oh my God. I get myself so twisted up in the subplots that sometimes I'm like, dude, you've got to step back. People cannot find their way out of this maze. I'm like, oh, sorry. So sorry.
Well, I mean, like Jason, Katie, you guys have read at least one of my books, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Do I have subplot?
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't realize I did. I just write.
I can do that. I think stories get those just by the nature of what they are.
Yeah,
well,
because
If you're paying attention to your characters and what's actually happening with them, the subplot happens naturally.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
every
but-
character's direction isn't a straight line. They go off in different directions and come back to the middle again.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because
it's more character development.
because
Yeah.
I don't know how to because I hear people saying, well, I focused on this subplot, and I was like, I just wrote stuff, and the way I write it, I think, how would I enjoy this if I was coming to this for the first time? So I try to have things in there. I kind of like write like I'm watching a movie, kind of.
So do I. And all my scenes are kind of like action scenes in my head. So when I'm writing them out, I have to have that level of detail in them.
Yeah. Oh, when I have fight scenes in my books,
Oh,
I
I
actually
act them out.
I act them out. I
Yep,
mean,
so do I.
I've got a first degree black belt in Kempo, so I do the fight choreography because
Oh my God. So yeah.
Oh, sweet. So
Nice.
because I want my fights to be realistic. I don't want to
Right.
have I don't want my guys. I don't want like my antagonist coming after my heroes with the Prometheus school of we all just attack you one at a time,
or standing in the circle and taking them on one at a time.
Yeah, and that's actually why I like the fight choreography in Cobra Kai, because they actually having to defend themselves against multiple people, and it's realistic. I mean, for those who have watched Cobra Kai, especially watch season 1 of Cobra Kai when William Zabka is fighting the guys in the parking lot. He's doing good at keeping himself away from being hit, but when he is, it's realistic.
Yeah. And realism is huge. And that and like Katie said, your character development, that's key. And that just drives your subplots. And I'm a huge character driven writer. So I come up with characters before I come up with plots.
If you give your readers a reason to care about your character, that's what they're going to go after. They want to know what's happening to the character, how they're reacting to their world. It's less about actual outlined plot and more about how is this real person page going to actually react to something.
Right. And and Jonesy's right. My guy was involved in a battle with maggots. He did. He was. Matter of fact, Jonesy and Sharon spent a lot of time arguing and yelling about me, about how I ended one of my books, because I left it at such a cliffhanger. It's like, well, why would you do that? To make you have to read the second book. Duh.
Oh, so you're one of those with the cliffhangers.
You know what? I've only done that one time. One time. And the main
I did
reason
kill
why
off a character. I have killed off a reader's favorite, and I heard a lot about it.
I killed off my main character in a book, and I had people snap at me over it.
Oh, I bet.
I killed my main character, and when I did it, Sharon actually got really mad at me.
I committed the worst atrocity you can possibly commit as an author. I killed a dog.
No!
Unforgivable.
Oh, Jason.
You are a terrible human being. You are a terrible person. I can't lie though. I teased killing a dog in one of my books too, but I didn't do it.
Well, and I never would have done it if it had been my imagination, but it was a real life event that somebody, actually my wife, told me about, something that happened involving a boy she went to school with. He did. And so that's oh, Rebecca.
I don't think I've ever been called that before. I have been called many a
level achieved.
Yes, you just
I have
leveled
been
up,
called
baby.
many a
Read
thing.
it in the voice. Read it in the voice.
That's because you're a twat and a great writer. Her voice changed in the meantime. It was perfectly done. I immediately bought the next book while yelling at Bryan.
Hey.
Never kill the dog.
I'm still
I
mad.
am a huge dog person. You cannot kill.
I'm still mad at D. Wallace for killing Cujo, man.
See now
dude.
if Jane was here.
Sharon
already
just reminded me.
killer.
I'm sorry. Sharon just reminded me. This is what she gave me. I don't know if you.
I killed babies.
You killed babies.
Ooh.
I did kill babies. Actually, I killed an entire neonatal.
Oh my
All right, we're going to say goodbye to Bryan now.
Adios,
Jason
buddy.
just killed a dog. I killed an entire maternity floor of babies in a book.
Well, we have gone a little crazy as per usual.
We've
here.
gone very dark.
Jump the shark just a tad.
No, I think what's funny is that Jason's like, well, I killed a dog. I can top that.
I'm
I'm not even in the right arena. I'm like, damn,
All right,
I need to catch up.
Go over the rules. You don't kill dogs.
Babies? What about babies?
Oh. Babies are gross. Babies are gross.
Candy! My Candy's here. She'll protect me.
Jane, who is our other co-host, she is notorious for just killing things. All right. And when I was co-writing with her, I had to make the stand when we were writing our book about killing a dog. I said, can't do it. I won't write it. We're not killing a dog, damn it. And I
not
didn't
write
kill the dog.
Hi, Julia. Oh my goodness.
What?
Look at Kendra Wolk is here. Holy smokes. Guys, Kendra Wolk. This is actually my friend and my boss. This is the veterinarian I work for.
Oh, we have to be really professional now, huh?
Oh,
All right,
boy,
nice, guys.
she knows that is not the case.
I was about to say, if I have to be professional, watch this. I wonder who that's professional for. I don't know. Katie, you're out in Vegas. You think I get a job at Money Ranch?
Yeah, probably.
Well, now, does anyone have a picture of Ian Somerhalder we can put up here for Kendra, because she really likes him? That's what we need. So now that we're done killing babies and dogs,
Villages
thankfully,
and things.
In villages.
I actually want to go back with what Bryan had talked about subplots, and have we created subplots, and how do you create subplots? I'm sure we've talked about this before, but for me, I feel like they are something that kind of develops naturally as you're writing, because they're part of my character's journey. But there are some times when maybe you have a specific subplot mapped out or outlined out in your head. How do you go and approach that while you're creating a plot and you're outlining, that subtext as well? How do you approach that? What do you think, Jamie? Because you said you're the queen of subplots.
I do. I have subplots, but like Katie said, mine are driven by characters. I don't really outline. I started out as a pantser, and I've gotten to a point now where I just have road signs that say, like, explosion here, kill this person here, frame that person there. We're good. Have sex there. That might work. Maybe move it. I know. Doesn't happen often. But it does.
I know, we're old.
They're only like 10, 15 pages. Don't worry about it.
Sex is the taboo. You can kill anything you want to, but God forbid
Oh my
you
God.
put sex on the page.
When I was
There's
first
no
sending,
sex in your violence.
oh my God, when I first sent out Shadow's Edge, because as a slow build romance, and there was no sex per se in the first book, all I heard back from the editors and acquisition agents that I said is, you need to put sex in this book. I'm like, dude, it doesn't fit. She can't stop in the middle of chasing a demon to get her groove on. Okay, it's not going to happen.
Well, if they have
It's a little hard to get those pants off at that point. I'm sorry.
Well, if the demon has tentacles, then you can just have hentai.
I don't think we can do that. But yeah, so but subplots. Back to Jason's question on subplots instead of sex. I'm sorry.
I think you know what? I think that the sex and violence, those are my favorite parts of books. I love those parts.
Wait, hold on. I got dinged a full star by a reviewer because my character dared to, get this, slap the love interest for being an asshole.
All you did was slap him?
Slapping doesn't equal love, people.
It depends on how you're doing it. Maybe.
I mean, some people think that's a sign of absolute adoration. I don't know.
Hey, if I don't get my ass slapped at least once, no one loves me.
It was a well-deserved slap across the face for being a dick.
Well, then he deserves
it.
It
Happens. Well, I look at it like this. Here's the thing. If a woman slaps a dude, it's relatively okay if he's being a dick. Dude just has, if the woman's being an asshole, you just have to suck it up and be like, you know what, fuck you, I'm not being bothered with you right now, and walk away.
Makes
so
sense.
If Sharon slaps me across the grill piece because I'm being a douche canoe, then hey, I earned it. I got it coming. And then I'll just get it back when we make up. Because
in your case, I agree with that.
Hey, I think whatever happens between two consenting adults, that's between two consenting adults.
Exactly.
I don't care.
No, and no isn't always no unless there's a safe word.
Yeah, you better write it out in your contract.
Potato.
Oh, ramen noodles.
Peppercorn chicken.
Oh, but Becky took them out for Stuvens's. Wait, what? But hey, at least you have reviewers. I mean, no one really.
Okay, have you used Story Origin yet, Bryan? They have a whole review platform which works.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do that.
I actually use the review platform. I've just done their newsletter swaps so far.
I love their review platform because you send out review copies and you never know if anybody actually reviews them.
Right.
Well, you're not going to get 100% on Story Origin either. However, Story Origin will at least give you the name, the email address, the date it was sent to them, the date they were reminded to review it, and if they do review it, you get a link directly to their review.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can have a one place, to keep track of things. So you're still not going to get 100%, but you're going to get a hell of a lot more.
Well, I'm sure my PA is listening, is viewing and listening. So, yeah, get me on that.
And they have review swaps too. You can join group promotions just for review books.
Oh,
Nice.
wow. I'll have to look at that.
Is anybody watching Hunters on Amazon Prime yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's on my to-do
list. It is on my list.
We started 2 nights ago. And Kendra, I apologize. I know you don't have Amazon Prime. But
that is your mistake.
Yes, it is. It's exceptionally well made, but damn, is it heavy. Holy crap. It's like and it's Jordan Peele is the I'm not sure if he's directing or if he's the producer, but I know he's involved with a project. But it's like he starts you out, he hooks you on each episode with this something ghastly and horrible, which I think is wonderful. It's a great way to get you in.
Right.
And then you get some humor and some good dialogue and some good character development, and then it starts going dark,
perfect.
dark until by the end of it you're like looking up from the floor like, oh my God, what did they do to me? I mean,
The Boys is kind of like that. Have you watched The Boys? Because The Boys is
I love The Boys.
The Boys is very
awesome.
dark, and I love it. I can't wait for season 2.
The Boys has exactly what I want. It has good plot. It has sex and nudity and violence. It's the perfect show.
Sex and the violence.
Yes.
And you know what's funny is that I felt weird because I had 5 books released, and I'm going through the re-release process with Random Evolved Media. And what's hilarious is that 4 of my 5 books have sex in them, but my book Invincible Heart has no sex in it.
I've never written sex before. I wouldn't even know how.
Oh, you know how I wrote sex? I was seriously worried about it, about how to do it. But then I used to do a lot of gaming online, and then I was like, I can do it like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I just
double click, single click.
Yeah, basically. But I also figured out, because the one thing, not to get too TMI, but I was told that I was very, very good at, shall we say, naughty talk. So I kind of learned how to sort of throw that in there as well for description and everything. So I've heard that before. Actually, I've said that before.
Rebecca says, it doesn't fit.
Well, then you must have quit.
I think it's more of an instead of a ha 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 ha. But
just the tip.
That sounds painful.
Yeah, I will tell you that sex scenes are probably the hardest scenes for me to write. And no pun intended.
So hard. So
hard and long. And
I know, that's why I can't write them for long. I got like 3 minutes tops and I'm done.
Wow, 3 minutes.
Wow, you actually get up to 3 minutes. I'm already
Minuteman
done.
over here.
I'm already done. I've already finished. I'm about to have a cigarette.
I was at some writing meeting of a group, and I won't use the name of the chapter group that I was at, but they were discussing sex scenes, and the person presenting was like, oh, yeah, my sex scenes are like a paragraph. I'm like, at the time looking at my work in progress, I'm like page 5, 6, 7.
Wow.
Maybe I need to cut that back a little bit.
Some tantra going on there.
Mine is there's conversation. Yeah.
Conversation.
See,
What?
Katie's got it. There's foreplay and the actual act, and there's the aftermath. Oh, yeah, there's
foreplay?
Wait,
it's just supposed to be breathing. Come on.
That's hot.
Mine ends up, because it's all, most of my scenes happen. How do I say this? It's a pivotal moment in the relationship where mainly it's the female character going, perhaps I like this gentleman. So I shall pursue this further now. I am now emotionally connected to him. Therefore, I will let him do things to me, and I will do things to him. That generally tends to be why I have sex. It's a change in the relationship, but it's not. I don't know that it necessarily has to be. So like I said, in my Ken series, I have the Demon Queen. One of the books, Shadow's Curse, follows a Demon Queen, and I love her to death. And she's the character everybody hates. And I had to write a book because everybody hated her. And I gave her a love interest, but I never go back behind the door with her ever. because I'm like, I just couldn't do it justice. I can't. She would be kind of scary in the bedroom. I don't think I can adequately portray that to readers.
Well,
So I didn't.
well, and
Well, you have my attention for.
yes, I need a little short story of this, whatever it is. I need just that section.
I
please.
need
Send it on over.
I need a 35-page treatment of this.
Yeah, no, Natasha, one of the taglines for Natasha is beauty is a treacherous bitch. And Natasha knows it.
Yes. Hell
So-
yes.
I offer myself as tribute.
Yes.
As tribute.
Yeah. Well, it's just like the one sex scene I wrote in my vampire novel, which I'm actually going to start calling dark urban fantasy, because I guess that's what vampires and crap are. And I have my character, he looks down his crotch and goes, "Thank God the plumbing works."
Because nobody ever talks about the fact that vampires, I mean, come on, think about
There's
what
no blood flow.
Yeah, there's no blood flow. How does
Yes.
anything rise to the occasion?
Right. Well, the
Is
way
it just
well,
always hard or what?
What?
well, the way I
Is it
wrote
like,
it,
you're right,
well, the
though.
way I wrote it out,
Is it like
was
rigor
that-
mortis? What is it?
well, the way I ended up writing it out is that, with at least in this universe, is that as vampires get older, as they get colder toward life and existence, they start to lose interest in earthly things like sex
Right.
and other. So they're just not able to do it. But with him, like he's a relatively young vampire. Yes, I do have. It's not available yet, but Kendra, but if it will be available soon for like the Halloween season. But if you want to be an early reviewer person, hit me up after the show. We'll have a discussion. But he's a relatively young vampire for vampire standards,
Right.
but he's still able to function with concentration.
So it's like slow onset ED then for vampires.
Yes, like as you get, well, you figure as you get to be about like 6, 7, 800 years old. Yep, cold cock. Absolutely.
Rebecca says,
So-
cold cocked.
You know what? Now I'm starting to hear Rebecca speak in the voice of Donna Tubbs from Cleveland. So.
See, now I've always approached vampires in the not the whole heart stop, nothing's flowing at all. It's really slowed down.
Yours
Because
are all about glitter, right?
no, I don't-
Please not.
no, vampires don't sparkle. No, but they gotta
Brian's
have
3 minutes are up now. That was it.
blood has to flow, otherwise they would have pooling pockets of blood in their extremities and stuff, and it just wouldn't work. They have to be able to get the muscles working and still function. So I've always approached it from that angle.
Well, see, I've also looked at it as vampires feed on blood because they can. That way, it keeps their body moving. If they have to start feeding on their own body, that's when they start to starve and start.
Yeah,
to
they don't
go
produce their
insane.
own anymore, so they have to supplement. Yeah.
So
Right.
a blood meal could be like a Viagra for them.
Yeah.
The blood goes in, goes straight.
And
goes
sex
straight
and,
to
and
everything.
dinner,
Wow.
always
they
go
use-
together.
and blood is energy. That's
like
why
it.
they're able to do what they do. So as they get hungrier, they start to get the savage strength, but they're feeding on themselves to maintain their strength. And then eventually it's kind of like in 28 days later, how they would start to.
Yeah.
Gee,
Okay,
goes
so
down.
this is a teachable moment, everyone, right here for the Bryan Tann about subplots. Okay, you've got your vampire. He's a young man, and he's living life with a little concentration. He can still get his groove on. However, the subplot is that as he gets older, he's got to deal with this crisis of losing his masculinity as he naturally loses interest in humanity. So that's your subplot, is how does he deal with the fact that he can no longer get his groove on?
Yeah. And I'll
Maybe
tell you,
maybe he has a performance issue moment.
TED Talk.
it's possible.
Mhm.
Because all I know is that the my female lead, she's sort of like flirting with him, and he's like, "Oh, thank God the plumbing still works."
Well, and Jamie, you mentioned that you add sex in when it's a more pivotal moment in a relationship or
Right.
emotionally, and it's funny is I have done that, but I've started to do the opposite almost on purpose now, because I'm trying to make it more normal for my characters to have sex when they want to have sex, and not just
Right.
this is the climax where now they're in love. Whereas now these people can have sex casually and enjoy it, because I kind of would like to see more of that, without.
I think we need more of that. It's just that I'm a huge UF. I love my urban fantasy. And so for me, sex was always a relationship thing. So when I did my paranormal romance series, the Cypher Teams, I had to have more sex in the books because they were romance. So kind of what you have to do. It was hard to do that. I found it hard. But I agree with you. I think as writers, we owe it to our readers to be to give them, I don't know, stories that show how it really is, that it's perfectly okay to get down and jiggy with it with somebody at any point in time, just because you like them and it's there. The attraction's there.
Well,
It doesn't have to be, oh, you've met my soulmate and now we're going to be married for eternity and repopulate the earth.
The real person angle, because that does happen in real life. Right. People do have one night stands. People do just have fuck buddies just for whatever.
Sometimes cats just want to plow.
That happens. That's right.
And it's not just men that do. There are women that just look.
Right.
I don't want the attachment. I just want what I need for now, and that's that. Moving on.
Right. Yeah. And I'm definitely not one to do the shy virgin type. That just doesn't work for me.
Oh, thank goodness.
I'm not a fan.
I like women who know what they want and how to get it.
I like badass women.
I like a woman that is going to come up to me, grab me by either the throat or the other throat, and just be like, "Now." I'm like, "Yes, ma'am."
It's big enough that it has a throat. What the hell, man? Jesus Christ!
Hey, you're the one that wants to read into that. I'm not saying that I have any sort of endowment that it has a throat. You're reading into that.
Now I appreciate this big old throat.
You know what? I do not know if I appreciate or not this idea of me having. Actually, yeah, I do appreciate it. Thank you. I wouldn't like to maintain that stereotype.
Well, in one thing that I played around with my last release, and it was in a short story.
Around with? Wait a second.
Not Brian's throat, that's for sure. I had a sex scene in my last release in a short story called The Life of Pets, and probably a couple people on here have read it. And I wanted to have a sex scene that was both erotic but also made you really, really uncomfortable. So this woman is having a fantasy. It's a sex dream, and it's about someone other than her significant other, and she wakes up and she's actually having sex with her significant other, and it just becomes this really, really kind of convoluted, awkward thing for her because she's there, but she's not there.
Physically another.
Yes, and it's a really bizarre thing for her, and and of course that ends up becoming real in a physical way as well, and not just in the fantasy. But yeah, it was a really kind of a fun thing because it was a highly erotic scene, but it was also really disturbing. And I think that's where I like to play in that realm of between this is really good and this is really disturbing. That's where I like to live.
I love doing disturbing stuff because sometimes, now here's the thing, and this is one thing that I've realized in some of the things that I've read and even some of the things that I've written. What might be disturbing to some might be something that's very alluring to someone else. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes it's just little things that you can do to sort of stroke what someone enjoys to get them wanting to read more, like if you can just like tap into someone's kink in the most subtle way, even if it's not like straight up sexual, but just in the most subtle way, those are additional ways that you gain loyal readers.
Yeah, very true. You gotta. I think that's the idea of
Mike, you don't want to do that, because if every vampire drains every human, then now A, there's not enough humans after a while. B, vampires are alerting humans to their presence. You take
now they're gonna be headed.
Yeah, you take just enough to keep yourself satisfied and move on. And that's why, Mike, you would be the worst vampire ever, and then you would be hunted down and killed, and then your throat would be hung out for all to see until it crumbled to ash.
That's right.
And vampires don't always go for the neck, guys. You don't have to go
No,
full
there are
on
many
like-
other points to go for.
There are many
If
other
you've
big
ever
veins in the body.
and you don't
Remember,
actually want to sever the carotid because you have about 6 minutes until fully
I think
bleed out.
max.
Yeah.
That's
I
why
think
if you've
yeah.
ever seen Once Bitten, you know where Lauren Hutton was feeding from.
Nah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
but that's important details to remember. You know, when you're writing a book, it's not only realistic characters, but you have to be not necessarily realistic, but believable situations.
Right.
Right. Not
Know
every
where the
vampire is
line
going to
is.
bite the throat because that just leaves way too much. You want to leave it where no one's going to see it.
Well, and you have to ask the question
Sometimes.
too. If a vampire is going to bite and then leave, how are they going to ensure that that human isn't going to say something? So you have to ask the question,
Right.
answer the question, and that's how you develop your vampires in the world they live in.
Right. Because you can't just use, because I know that White Wolf Studios had a way for their vampires to feed on people and hide by the vampire licking the wound and it seals. Well,
Mhm.
if you use that trope, you can get sued. You got to be careful because that's their thing. Now, granted, now White Wolf isn't near as huge as they had been. Vampire the Masquerade is still a very big deal in gaming circles, but
Right.
you can use little tricks like that.
I've read lots of stories where there's an anticoagulant in their saliva.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I sort of allude to that, where basically like the vampire's fangs, they bite in, and then as they're pulling out, the shall we say leftover saliva that is still on their teeth as they pull out are what seals it. That's the way it happens in my world.
And I've read a lot of vamp stories where that is how they address the problem of, well, if he leaves, then they're just going to bleed out. This is how they make sure it stops.
Right.
You just bring clotting powder with you. It's easy.
Or you just punch the wound really, really hard. I'm sure it'll start to heal over then. You know, when things hurt, you just punch it really hard. That's what Kylo Ren did, and damn it, that's what I'm gonna do. Well,
Kendra, we have some novels for you to read.
Oh, my
yeah,
gosh.
you know what? I'll let you know what you can, if you want to. I'll let you beta read The Enforcer before it comes out. It's just that you have to buy a copy when it comes out and leave a review. So it's verified purchase.
Good deal.
Yeah, Kendra, every person here except for me writes vampire books. So
Oh, I
you're in
don't.
the-
I don't write vampire books.
Oh, you don't?
I don't. No, I read them, but I don't write them.
I thought you had a vampire.
You're
Okay.
being
No.
vampist, Jason. Just
I
because she
see,
does
I
urban
see.
fantasy doesn't mean that there's vampires.
I have, let's see, my urban fantasy. I have one that has mages, and then the other series, or the new series, is mages, and the series that I start out with has
Joe, you
everything
stop.
but vampires.
You know
So it
what?
has
We should
demons,
probably
specters.
talk. We should probably talk because the way I wrote my vampire universe, it's supposed to be vast enough that there are different stories all over the place. So I
I've
do
got
want to sort of
everything.
expand that. I do because I have all that in mind as well. I mean, I even have a nod to Supernatural in there.
Ooh.
Oh,
Oh.
beautiful!
Collaborate.
That's
The cult.
awesome.
The
Wow.
Cult Brothers.
Wow.
They have an
Damn.
Impala, right?
Brian,
Yes,
you and I
they
need to
do.
collaborate.
That's right.
'cause
Now
we-
Yeah.
Brian's just reeling
Sure.
in the fishing net. He's like, "Yep." I
You know,
mentioned
the funny thing
Supernatural.
is that what's funny is that, and I'm pretty sure I probably told you guys about this. I'm doing a writing project with Cameron Romero as well, but it's like between Cameron and between Kendra, it's like, well, now because there are times where I do actually contemplate quitting writing
Don't we all?
just out of just frustration and blah blah blah. But I keep myself around so many people that keep me encouraged to do it.
Right.
That's awesome, Kendra. Thank you. You are now one of the people I'm talking about now.
I want
And
to
now
do
I can't stop.
I want to do her voice, but I can't because she's my boss.
Dude, I just almost deep throated my mic. You can make fun of her voice.
No, I can't. She'll kill me.
Don't worry, I'll put her in the book and have her bit me. Not in a fun way.
You remember how I told you I love badass women? Yeah,
Mhm.
she's one of them. I don't mess with her.
Oh yeah. So basically, she'd shove her hand up your ass, grab your spine, and work you like a puppet.
Well, I
like
that's
that.
possible. Although she does work with animals, and I've seen her put her hand in some pretty gnarly places.
Now I want to watch Hot Tub Time Machine,
Oh,
Wow.
where the Craig Robinson
my
scene
God.
where he takes the keys out of the dog's ass and just
Oh
throws
my
them at him.
No. You were talking about how you're going to quit writing.
Yeah, because well, here's the funny thing. I wrote The Enforcer when I moved to New Hampshire back in 06, 07 ish, and then as you know, Jamie said, I did everything wrong with because I didn't know how to promote back then. I didn't know anything about anything. I didn't know how to write shit for shit. I knew how stories worked, but I didn't know how to do it. So I finally figured, thinking that I had the next great American novel. I mean, I put money out to firms that were supposed to be agencies that needed like $110 reading fee. I didn't know not to pay attention to those.
Yeah.
And almost got into vanity presses. And then when I finally got it out there, thinking people are going to be all over this book now. Hey, I have one of those.
Look at that.
Want one?
Hey, honey, bring me mine. Bring me mine. Hurry, hurry.
Aww.
So I've got one too. And finally, when I
But
get it
guess
out
what?
there, and
Mine's
nobody
bigger.
wanted it.
Mine's much bigger.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that before too. But no one was into it, and no one was leaving reviews. And for a long time, I didn't write. Like, I had the sequel to The Enforcer practically done, but I just wouldn't finish it. And then what was funny is that when I started doing audiobooks, that sort of forced me back into writing. And then I met Kendra, and then I had started writing another book, and I couldn't do anything with it. So then I took Kendra's, thank you. So then I took Kendra's.
Uh-oh, it's the Battle of the Yodas. I feel so left out now.
Well, no, they have the same creator.
Okay.
Yep, Heather made this for me.
Until
I
Heather
get
was my wife.
I'm checking my husband's. I've got a Boba Fett statue sitting on a.
So
my God,
fine.
you
So
do?
I do.
So
Hold on.
finally-
Wait.
Yes, go get it. Go get it.
So finally, what I ended up having to do is I took this book that I had started working on that I had no clue what I was doing anything with, and then that became Invincible Heart.
Nice.
So really, like I said, having some, that's badass.
Hell
Is that not
yeah.
badass?
Coming
My
out of
husband.
Sarlacc,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
awesome. So basically, that's what got me back, is having people to start encouraging and help pushing along. So collaborating is a great way to do that. It's like, well, now I can't quit because somebody's looking at me.
Yeah,
to do
having writing
something.
partners will keep your ass in line. It really
Amen.
will.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now I have the new office. So now I can start dictating if I'm just like, I don't feel like typing. Well, now I'll just start talking, because sometimes talking the ideas out
Right.
keeps everything going. So
Well, I need a good writing partner. Okay, if there's anybody out there that wants to be like a writing partner, co-writer, let me know. I need somebody to keep my ass in line. You know,
it depends on what you're in the mood to do.
Yeah, I exchange word counts with my writing partners like every day. It's a check-in of, all right, did you get anything done? And then it's like you have to be honest, because there are times you're just like, oh yeah, I got it, and you're like, I didn't do shit.
Accountability.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
I got a lot done. You lying son of a bitch. No, you didn't.
And I will tell you, writing partners help if you have a competitive streak, because then you guys are all trying to like make sure, okay, I got a book coming out. All right, my book's coming out here, and all right, we're gonna get this done. And all right, damn it. All right, I gotta get this one done. So but yeah, I've been there where I've wanted to quit, because it just, sometimes you're like, I had to step back from social media this year because there was so much going on in the writer world. And I was just like, yeah, I'm tired of hearing, okay, we don't want kick-ass females anymore. We want beta females. And I don't want this. I want this. And I'm like, all right, I can't listen to people, because then I sit in front of my screen and my mind goes blank.
Humans,
And I keep thinking, I'm writing shit. I'm not writing what readers want. They're going to hate this. It's like every other book that's out there. So
people piss me off so much.
yeah,
write what you want to write, because the problem is, and if I didn't need social media to promote my books or to keep up with
I wouldn't
friends,
be on it.
I wouldn't be on it, because people piss me off. Everyone seems to think that their opinion matters so fucking much. And it's like, guess what? Your opinion don't mean shit. Shut up.
It's not even just the opinions. It's that ability to say some really nasty shit because you're hiding behind a keyboard.
Well,
Yeah, and I really hate that. I hate it so much.
And when it comes down to it, as an author, especially if there are any new authors that happen to listen to this, I think that taking advice and learning from the industry and the trends is a good idea, but
don't let it rule your life. Don't let it rule your life.
Well, and I
You've
tell
gotta be
all
genuine.
new writers, hey, listen, make sure you have a good and reliable mentor that you can befriend, that they can help steer you in the right direction, because otherwise you're screwed, because there's a lot of assholes out there that seem to think that they're the shit.
They've got the magic formula to whatever
and they
it
don't,
is.
and they don't. You know, I remember I was invited. I'm not going to give names because I don't want to call anyone out because, you know, I may be a complete dick, but I'm not 100% dick. But I went to this writing group.
I don't believe anyone is 100% a dick.
Thank you for picking up on that. And this guy was just in this writing group because he, you know, made all this money as an author.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, yeah, because, you know, me and Jim, you know, James Patterson to you, but, you know, we did this and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, you do not call James Patterson Jim. No, the fuck you don't. But he's sitting there and he's doing all this talk and yeah, and I did this. And what I ended up doing was, did I want to live in this house with 10 bedrooms or did I just want to live in a 1-bedroom apartment to make sure that I can do what I want and blah, blah, blah. And I sold this. And I'm like, dude, all you're sitting there trying to do right now is beat yourself off to make us think that you're so great and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I didn't know who the fuck you were until I showed up tonight. So and
there are plenty of those out there.
Yeah. And I get so sick of these people and it's people like that have this overinflated ego about themselves that just want to open their mouths on social media, like you were saying, because they're behind a keyboard. And you see it like hell on Twitter. Especially on Twitter. And it's like, you know what? Here you go. Here's one for you and one for your mama for birthing you.
All these poor new writers, my heart goes out to them, man, because you get so much coming at you saying, okay, you have to release every 30 days, every 60 days. You got to beat the algorithms. You got to do this. I'm like, dude, I don't have $25K to spend on advertising. One, I have a day job and a family, and I enjoy writing because it fulfills something for me, and I enjoy telling stories. Will I ever make $1 million off of it? Probably not. Don't really care. But you know what? I got books out there and I got readers who like my stories. So
the whole right to market trend, it's unnerving.
I don't even do that.
Well,
I mean, really,
reading burnout authors is what it's doing. I mean, if you're forcing yourself to, belt out a novel every 30 days. Yes, you can actually do it, but you're gonna burn out. On top of writing it, editing it, revising it, marketing it, and then right into the next one.
Yeah, I get 2 books out a year. That's it. That's all I'm able to get out. And I've got a full-time job.
Right. And I mean, I'll tell you the truth. I haven't written anything new since Unbreakable Mind. And you know what? While I feel a bit of guilt about it, at the same token, even if I wrote something new right now, it's not going to be coming out for like another 2 years.
Right. You know what, Susan? I think I can make it happen. The one thing that I talk about this with my writing partners, because we've gotten a lot of that chatter about, you've got to publish fast and you've got to publish a lot. And I'm like, look, it takes me 4 months to get my first draft done. 4 months. And that's if I write every single day on a set word count, because my books are between 70 and 85,000 words. So,
Same here.
And then I have to get an editor. And then I have to read through it. And then I have to have my beta readers read through it. I'm like, I am not putting out a shit novel to put out a shit novel. I am putting out a novel that I'm happy with, that I'm not, granted, I wouldn't mind going back and rewriting some of the stuff I first wrote, but I won't.
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah. But, but that's part of being a writer is you grow from like I said before, I did everything wrong with the Kin series, did it all wrong with the Cyber Teams. I have been published since 2010, and I am finally going to do a series right from the get-go, or what I consider right, Right. So it takes time.
It really does.
Of time.
It's
so
hard.
New writers, you guys write what you want to write, and be true to who you are and your creativity, and don't listen to all the shit that's out there, because
and don't try to please everybody, because you ain't gonna do it.
Every story that's ever been told has already been told. What's going to make your story stand out are your characters and your voice. That's it.
Yes. Yep. And quit worrying about, is it going to be, because this is an issue that I had. Is it going to be too much like this? Or people going to call you out? Bruh, people are going to call you out for whatever. All right. Do what you do and do what you enjoy to do. And you know what? If you have a publisher, they'll tell you, because they'll be on your side. Your friends will let you know and will be on your side. As long as you ain't straight up plagiarizing shit, Do
You're
your
good.
thing. Do your thing.
Yeah.
And quit worrying about everyone else. Because you know what? If every douchebag, Carl and Steve out there could do what we do, there'd
would.
be even more writers. The market would be more saturated than it already is. It's bad enough that you're going to have to fight against these people that, and I'm not trying to
Rush publishing.
Yeah, they're rush publishing, and they don't have any sort of quality to put out there. They are the negative of self-publishing that everyone is, that ruins it for all of us.
I think it's just a matter of outlasting the flood. As long as you keep writing really good books, eventually your readers are going to catch on, and then they'll go back and
Just
they'll order your
keep yourself
backlist,
out there.
and you'll just keep doing the best you can.
Yeah.
The
It ain't going to be this
advice-
year. It won't be this year.
Nope.
It won't be next year. It won't be the year after. It could take
It's gonna
5
take
years.
them-
It could take 10 years.
Could. I think I went to a signing with Kevin Hearn from the Iron Druid Chronicles, and I actually got a chance to talk to him for a little bit. And he made the comment, he goes, look, I was an overnight sensation and it took 10 years.
Yep.
Yep. You know what? I'm going to use this analogy, and I don't mean to be too sexist when I say it, but it's the best way that I can say it right now. For a guy, hey, imagine the time it took for you to invest in a friendship with the woman that you finally got to sleep with. It felt like it took forever, but it was worth it when you finally opened the prize.
Exactly.
That's what it's like to be a writer. You've got to put time and energy and effort and tears, and
you got to build that relationship.
you've got to build it. Rome wasn't built in a day. Brad Pitt didn't get Jennifer Aniston on the first date.
Oh.
And I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure he had to. Brad Pitt has to work for it too. So if Brad's got to work for it, why shouldn't you? Hey, Brad Pitt could walk up to me and say now, and I just say okay, but and I'm not even gay or bi.
Yeah, Ocean's 11, Brad Pitt. I'm in, man.
You know what? Brad Pitt from Interview with a Vampire, he doesn't have to say a word. I'm dropping trowel and bending.
Oh yeah. I'd be like, Leo, you're wait, it's not Leo. What is it? What's
Louis.
Louis.
I think it's Louis.
Dick me dead and bury me pregnant.
Oh, I'm all about Armand, so you can have Louis. I'll take Armand.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what?
super
All
was in the
three of
witching
them could
hour.
slap
I was
knives
in
over
the
my
movie.
back as far as I'm
Oh
concerned.
yeah, I'm into all three of them. That's yep.
You know what?
Wait,
I'll
Katie.
take all three of them and still save time for the loonies in the freaking theater. Okay.
I'm all for Gary Olson as Dracula.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
him.
And you know what? And you know what? All the Lost Boys, I'll take them on too.
Oh, in a heartbeat. In a freaking heartbeat. I'd be all over Keith Sutherland like,
I will take on Bill. I will take on freaking Dwayne. I will take on Bill S. Preston
would believe that.
Esquire. I would take on all four of them 3 times in a row. When they're done, I'll say, "Is that all you got?"
Wow.
See, I'm sorry. I'm with Anita. I have never really been on the Brad Pitt train, so
We'll see.
sorry, guys.
I'd like a Chris Pratt.
I liked him in
vampire.
Troy too.
You know what? You know who else? Johnny Depp.
Ooh,
He could take me 10 ways
Oh,
over.
Johnny Depp, I liked.
Yeah,
Carl
he's
Urban.
cute.
Younger Johnny Depp, yes. Older, not so much.
yeah.
See, I'm a straight man, but I will admit I've got my dude crushes that if they came up to me and said, I'm like,
I'm not sure you understand what straight man means, Brian.
I do understand. Fine. I am a very low key bi.
That's better. I can get down with that.
Low key.
All right, Katie. I think for the love of God, you need to close up this episode.
I know, I'm just gonna let it keep going and going.
Before Brian makes any more admissions.
It's like when we're doing Joe's show. If Brian's on, you know it's going an extra half and we're over.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
People only read my books to keep me relevant so I can be on show.
At least it keeps them reading, though.
That's true.
There you go. And that's all that matters.
That's
Getting
right.
ready.
Oh, Wild Stallions would get taken too, and I'll even let Rufus have a turn. I said I've gone too far.
All right.
I
That's
like
it.
this. I like this. I am a straight man, but in the last 60 seconds, I've named 20 dudes that want to very, but I'm low key. All right.
Hey, you know what? For every 20 dudes in 60 seconds, I can get you 65 women. Okay.
All right.
I will do a writing sprint with you, Candy. I will.
All right, so Julia is going to host a writing sprint tonight over at Three Furies Press on Facebook. So if you are interested in doing a writing sprint, hop on over there after the show. We'll post a link in the comments. That way you guys can find it.
Awesome. Well, this
Yay,
has been a super fun. Oh yeah, I'll put that back up there. Sorry, I still can't do her voice. I'm just too chicken shit. I'm too chicken. Well, you guys, this has been a great show tonight. I've it's been so informative for everyone. I feel like everyone watching really learned a lot tonight.
Everyone learned that I'm a whore.
And I write really long sex scenes, so
Yeah.
This is the perfect
You write long
combination.
sex scenes, and I am a man slut. Apparently.
Brian has two throats, so
And I'm just sitting here laughing.
oh, and Leah says it is time to go. So sadly, all my friends out there, thank you so much for watching, but we gotta go. We gotta go.
We'll be back next week, guys. Remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend, and we will get more authors to come have some fun with us next week. Bye, guys.
Have a good night.
night.